Hey guys, if you're like me and you graduated high school in 2020, congrats, because we made it. But that probably means you're going to be starting college this week. And some of you might be ready. But let's face it, most of us aren't. But don't worry, I can help you in the kitchen anyways. Over the next couple of months, I'm going to be making YouTube videos to share with you healthy recipes so you don't gain the freshman 15 and don't blow all your money on UberEats. And in each one, I'm going to be teaching you a new, valuable cooking skill. Before we get going with the recipe, I'm going to run through all the equipment you're going to need to make this. So, the first thing we're going to be using is a frying pan. And I would recommend investing in a good, solid frying pan because you will use this for a very long time. The next thing is a wooden spatula, a good knife, a cutting board. We're also going to need a cheese grater, a large pot with a strainer, and a lid. And that's it. So today we're going to be making a sort of lazy lasagna recipe. You might not even have an oven in your dorm, and that's okay because this only needs the stovetop. We're going to be using a frying pan and a pot. The ingredients we're going to need is basically whatever pasta you have lying around, a can of tomatoes and a can of sauce, one white onion, ground meat of your choice, spinach, ricotta, and mozzarella. So for today's skill, I'm going to teach you how to chop an onion. So for this recipe, we're probably only going to need about half the onion. So the first thing you do is you cut the top off. And then you just slice it in half, put that aside, and go ahead and peel all the layers off until we get to the nice bit right there. So when it's no longer dark and it's nice and smooth, that's what we want. And then being very careful to tuck your fingertips in because you don't want to cut them off, and pressing the knife up against your knuckles, you're just going to make slices all along the onion, and you don't want to cut all the way through. You want to leave the end intact. So just slice all along the onion, get that last bit, and then slice diagonally across, and it will just fall into little diced cubes. Get rid of that, and there you go. Another pro tip, you guys, please try and remember your mom is not coming with you to college. So you need to clean up yourself and clean as you go because it will be a lot easier at the end. If you have this giant mess because you didn't clean anything, you can hate yourself, trust me. So today I'm using ground turkey and I have my pan heating up over there. And because turkey is a leaner meat, I'm just going to use a little bit of olive oil in the pan to get things going. But if you're using, say, a ground beef or even a ground pork, that has a little bit more fat, and you can just throw it right in the pan once it's heated. While the pan is heating, I'm going to fill up the pot with water and start it to boil for our pasta. Here's a tip to check if your pan is ready. If you flick water in and it sizzles, that means it's ready. So now we're going to go ahead and throw our ground turkey into the pan. Use your spatula to just break it up. You will just want little chunks for the pasta. So we're going to keep breaking this up as it cooks, and when it's done, it's going to be no longer pink. It's going to be like a light brown color. And right now, I'm just going to season it with some salt and pepper. In goes salt, and we'll just grind some fresh pepper right on top. Beautiful. Okay, this is about 5 minutes in, and it's getting there, but it's still a little bit pink. So we're gonna continue to stir it up and move it around the pan until you don't see any more pink. Okay, I've checked the water, and it is now boiling. So we're gonna add in our box of rotini and just follow the box instructions to cook it properly. This one says about 10 to 12 minutes until it's fully cooked. So we're gonna leave lid off and let that boil for another 10 to 12 minutes. Next up, pasta timer, 12 minutes.
Pasta timer, 12 minutes, starting now.
You always want to keep an eye on the pot of boiling pasta just in case it starts to bubble over. Just give it a good stir, and that should do it. The turkey is looking nice and cooked. I'm just gonna set this aside in a bowl. And then in the same pan, we're gonna saute our onions. So we'll get this, clean that up. So the pan's empty, ready for our onions. I thought that was gonna be louder, but we're just gonna stir these around and saute them for 5 to 6 minutes until they're translucent. So the onions are looking good. Now I'm gonna add in the can of tomatoes and let that reduce down for a little bit. That is loud. And strain them out. Just want to shake off excess water from the pasta. Nope. Okay. So I put the pasta back in the original pot because I'm going to mix everything up in there. So I took it off the heat, and now this is looking a lot nicer. The tomatoes have reduced down a bit, and I'm actually just going to add about half of this jar of tomato sauce. It's just whatever you have in the cupboard, and this will just give the sauce some body and flavor since we didn't actually use any spices for the sauce. So we'll go ahead and pour that in, about half the jar, and just mix that in. Okay, to keep your mom happy at home and to keep yourself healthy, you can go ahead to the store and buy a big tub of spinach. You can use it for smoothies, and you can put it in your pasta sauce. This might look like a lot of spinach sitting here in this bowl, but it's gonna wilt down and reduce by quite a bit. So we're gonna throw that in, and we'll mix it in to the sauce, and it will reduce and wilt down. It'll take a few minutes, but it will shrink quite a bit. The way to speed up the wilting process is actually to throw a lid on, and that will help it to steam the spinach. So the next step, we're gonna add the turkey back into the sauce. So take the lid off, put that aside, and just spoon it back in. There'll be some juices in there. You can add those in too, because that is flavor. And just go ahead and mix that all together. Once this is mixed up, we'll throw the lid back on and let it simmer for a little more. Okay guys, this is smelling really good. The sauce is gonna simmer for just a little bit more, but in the meantime, we can take our ricotta and we're gonna mix it in to our boiled pasta. So just eyeball. Because the noodles are also still warm, I'm just gonna add a little bit of mozzarella in there first, so it gets nice and melty. And we'll just mix that up as well. This looks really good. And the sauce looking fantastic. Okay guys, we're almost there. I've taken the sauce off the heat, I've turned all the burners off, and I'm gonna mix the sauce into the pasta. Slide it out, careful not to spill any over the edges. And just mix that in to the pasta, and the mozzarella, and the ricotta. You can see the mozzarella is already melted. Oh man, this looks really good. I cannot wait to eat this. Oh my goodness, guys, this looks so good. It's saucy, it's cheesy. I mean, I cannot wait to eat this. And if you're just one person living at college, this is enough food to last you for a good 3 or 4 days. So that was our easy, lazy lasagna that is dorm friendly. Okay guys, moment of truth, we have to taste it. Yeah, that is cheesy for sure. The sauce is really flavorful. And honestly, it tastes just like lasagna. It's all the flavor, and it took half the time.
Once again, my life has been saved by the miracle of lasagna.